First in HD, live, local, late breaking. This is WTVA News at 6.
It sounded like the front of the house had actually come apart. The noise was so loud.
Sirens, tornadoes, severe weather, death, and destruction. We have seen and heard some of it all today. Continuing coverage starts now on WTVA News at 6. Good evening, I'm Terry Smith.
And I'm Sonia Walls. We'll check in with WTVA's Craig Ford. He is on assignment in just a moment in Smithville. Thanks for joining us for WTVA News at 6.
Chief Meteorologist Matt Laubhan joins us now for a first look at what is going on right now with the latest weather.
And the current situation, we still have tornado warnings in our Alabama counties being canceled out as we speak. As you can see, still Lamar County, Alabama, a line of thunderstorms moving in, a few severe warnings on those we will touch on in a mere moments. But I do want to touch on this tornado warning storm, and this probably, hopefully, is the end. Still some circulation on it, as you can see, east of Vernon. This is sliding out of the WTVA viewing area within probably the next few minutes, but this does still have the potential to try to produce a tornado. I want to come north a little farther, and we have extreme eastern Franklin County, still tornado warning out on this thunderstorm, but that is now exiting Franklin County as well, removing that as the last tornado warning that we do have. Now, severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for northern Monroe. This does also clip sections of Lee County as well as Itawamba County. And this does have a similar shape to some of the tornado warning storms we've had today. So it is in an environment that's allowing it to rotate somewhat. But we're not thinking within the next few minutes it'll produce a tornado. We're watching it. We have eyes in the field. And we'll let you know if something does strengthen on it. But the strongest part of this thunderstorm will stay north of Rinn and track towards Smithville, an area hit hard by some tornado touchdowns earlier on today. Walking up the line will show non-severe portion in Tishomingo County, heading out of Tishomingo County and into Alabama. Severe thunderstorm warning also down for the Golden Triangle. This thunderstorm, the last one, will probably be the last one, wipe off the map, and it is heading toward probably more Aberdeen necessarily than even West Point. We show the motion on these thunderstorms from the southwest toward the northeast. We don't have as many of those east movers, and that's a big sign, a good sign that we're starting to wrap this activity down. Now behind this, it's not just trying to keep it off the map for you. There's nothing else out there all the way back to New Mexico and the western United States. So this is the last round. We'll discuss more how that impacts your forecast here in a few minutes.
Several communities are devastated tonight after severe weather and possible tornadoes move through the area. Tonight at 5, we showed you video of the tornado that hit Smithville. We have received more video of that tornado, and you can see it start to kind of take shape right here through some of those trees. Let's check in now with WTVA's Craig Ford, who joins us by phone from Smithville and has more on the path of destruction left behind in that community. Craig?
Okay, sorry. Gary, good evening. I'm standing right here along Highway 25, and utter devastation, and that is not an exaggeration. I have walked from the city limits on the south side all the way up to downtown, and there is devastation everywhere you can see. Emergency personnel are all over this community of about 1,000 people trying to help as many people as they can. I have not been able to talk to any law enforcement, anybody of an official capacity, as far as how many people hurt, if there are any fatalities, if there are any people missing. I can tell you I've seen at least 3 people who have been taken away for medical treatment. I can tell you that much. If you are familiar at all with this community, you would not believe the extent of the damage driving through the middle of town. It is unbelievable. I've been shooting video, I've been talking to people throughout the day. I know you guys have been showing some. We will have more throughout the evening, but one other thing that law enforcement wants to stress is if you do not have to be here, do not come through here. They're blocking traffic from coming into the community because the roads are messed up and there is a lot of damage that has to be addressed. For now, I'm live in Smithville. Craig Ford, WTVA News.
And in Chickasaw County, residents who live in the Egypt community are glad to be alive. Severe weather that moved through that area around 3 o'clock this morning has left behind significant damage to homes and, for one man, a sense of relief. Susan Parker explains.
Me and my girlfriend and my mother at Christmas.
Michael Nichols can't believe this is all that's left of the mobile home he rents.
Really hard. Really hard to hold my composure
actually.
So hard to believe that he and his girlfriend could have been killed. They spent the night elsewhere, something they decided to do on a whim. Driving home this morning, he encountered what he thought was someone else's mobile home scattered in pieces across the road.
Didn't believe it was mine until I actually walked through, you know, the stuff that was in the middle of the road.
And so, with the help of family and friends, they sort and sift through a muddy mess, seeking out anything of value.
Well, it's tough. I know that. Something happened like that, to lose everything you got like that, you just have to pick up and start all over again.
Which he will do, because in the end, he says, they have what matters most.
We hadn't lost everything. We still have our lives, so that's the important thing.
In Chickasaw County, Susan Parker, WTVA News.
And Nichols' mobile home is one of at least 3 destroyed during a severe weather event early this morning.
And we want to tell you that the Red Cross in West Point has opened a shelter that's at the Bryan Union Hall on Lewis O'Neill Street. So if you need some help or don't have anywhere to go tonight, the Red Cross will help you out.
The overnight storms left numerous trees down and power out in parts of Union County. In Myrtle, a huge tree fell on top of a house on Highway 178. The owner and her 3 children were asleep when a relative called and told them a possible tornado was headed their way and that they needed to take cover.
I woke my children up and we got in the hallway in our safe spot, and it was about 15 minutes later it hit, and we just rode it out in the hallway, and the roof is laying where my oldest daughter was sleeping, so we're just thankful to God that she woke us up.
The county's Emergency Management Agency Director Kurt Clayton tells us that the overnight storms left about a dozen homes that sustained either minor or major damage, scattered power outages, and numerous downed trees and power lines were also reported countywide. Residents of Webster County are left with a major cleanup project on their hands as they cope with the destruction from today's storms. Everything from houses to schools are destroyed. WTVA's Drew Powell shows us the extent of the damage, but people are working to pick up the pieces and regroup.
The sound of crews working as one resident describes what she saw when Mother Nature struck with a vengeance.
When I looked outside, I knew terrible damage done to the school. All the trees in my yard were broken off, so it's pretty devastating.
Homes along Highway 50 East and other roads in the county are a total loss, as is East Webster School in Cumberland.
It's destroyed. A lot of the memories that I had growing up are gone, and I'm just looking at all the trees I used to climb and the house I was raised in, just destroyed pretty much.
Now, graduation is scheduled for May 20th here at East Webster High School. But the big question now is, with the total devastation and destruction of the school, what to do for graduation, what to do for the remainder of the school year, and what to do for the remainder of the spring sports athletic season.
Luckily, the softball building and the softball field are the 2 things that did not get destroyed. And we actually have playoffs coming up Friday and Saturday, first round of playoffs.
So for now, the towns in this county are damaged, but rest assured, the people will unite and rebuild knowing they have each other.
The spirit of East Webster is good. It's always been good and will always be good. So we will continue to do our best to have a school here at East Webster.
Some people have lost their homes. Some people have lost their lives. But Mississippians will come to the rescue of their neighbors, and we'll get through this.
In Webster County, Drew Powell, WTVA News.
And Webster County Sheriff Philip Smith tells WTVA News the one fatality was Mike Rogers, who was killed when a tree fell onto his house.
In other news, a Louisiana man was killed when a tree fell on his tent. It happened at the Jeff Busby camping grounds in Choctaw County. Authorities say Officer Douglas Sharp of the Covington, Louisiana Police Department was killed as he and his daughter were trying to weather the storm inside of a tent located at Jeff Busby. A park ranger describes what happened.
We had some folks from Louisiana, a police officer and his daughter were camping here in our Jeff Busby campground. One of the trees in the campground, a big one, big oak, live oak, 125 foot tree, blew over, smashed their tent. The father was on top of the daughter trying to shelter her because he heard the big storm coming up. Tree smashed the tent and he was killed.
Wow, and this accident occurred around 3 o'clock in the morning. Meanwhile, a tornado made its way through the streets of Belmont early this morning, causing some extensive damage and power outages around Highway 25. That's where WTVA's Justin Lewis spent today as crews fought through the conditions to clean up some damage.
It sounded like the front of the house had actually come apart. The noise was so loud.
Sydney and Patricia Perry took shelter in the bathtub of their Belmont home when the tornado swept past, causing this pine tree to fall on their home as water rushed in.
In the living room, most of the shingles are gone over the living room and a lot of water damage inside the living room.
The only injury reported in Tishomingo County came when the tornado flipped this mobile home several times, the resident inside escaping with only minor injuries. And it wasn't long Wednesday until storms came back, causing flooding in Belmont at around 10:30 this morning. Another interesting sight was pieces of this red tin popping up all around. It comes from a storage shed at the baseball field and ended up in trees, backyards, and even brought down this pole and power line.
I actually got very sick in my stomach after seeing all of it. It was very emotional. I'm worried about my neighbors, you know, and then they all started coming out, so I knew everybody was okay, and that made me feel a lot better about it.
Roofers, along with electric and road crews, continue to try and clear this area, but storms are continuing to surface. In Tishomingo County, Justin Lewis, WTVA News.
All right, thanks a lot, Justin. Make sure you stay with us. We have much more coming up on WTVA News at 6.